Welcome back to another episode of Missionary Moneymaker, where we believe making a dime is making a difference. I'm your podcast host, Carl James Wynn Jr. And on this podcast, our focus is clear. We're deploying Christians into the marketplace as missionaries, helping them increase their impact, their income, and influence without guilt, without comparison, just calling. So I'm so glad that you joined us. And so in this episode, we're going to be talking about work as worship, how to turn your 9 and 5 into a mission field. If work is worship, then workplace is not a distraction. It's a discipleship arena. I want you to think about that. If work is worship, then the workplace isn't a distraction. It's a discipleship arena. And yet, a lot of churches disciple people for Sundays, but not always for Monday. Most believers spend the majority of their waking hours at work. So here's the question. If the marketplace is where believers live, why is it rarely where discipleship is aimed? Most Christians live Monday through Friday in the workplace. Most discipleship is built for Sunday. What we don't disciple, the culture will. And that's just a gap, but it's also an opportunity. So today, I want to show you how to turn your 9 to 5 into a mission field, not by quitting your job, but by obeying God in it. Point number 1, understand the will of God. Looking at Colossians chapter 3, verse 16 through chapter 4, verse 2, it talks about how as Christians, whatever we do, we are to do it as unto the Lord. But verse 16 talks about letting the word of Christ dwell in us richly. And when we have the word of Christ dwell in us richly, we can understand the will of God. But this is the fact. Most Christians don't elevate work to the proper status in God's eyes because the church often doesn't. However, the scripture is clear on this. Christ wants to rule in every area of our life, and that includes our work. You know, wisdom, gratitude, prayer, it needs to be woven into every part of our lives. And that includes work. We need to be teaching. We need to be including wisdom and gratitude and prayer woven into every area of our life, into our daily rhythm, and that includes work. And so work is not secular, it's sacred. There is no split as a Christian. Every part of your life is sacred and it is a calling unto the Lord. And so going back to Colossians chapter 3, verse 7, it tells us that whatever we do in word or deed, we need to do it as unto the Lord. Let me ask you this question. Does your church have a ministry to the marketplace? Is there a budget for it? Is there a marketplace minister? Or is everyone assumed to figure it out on their own? If the marketplace is where God sends most of his people, but we don't disciple them for that space, we're not being neutral, but we're being incomplete. And for the most part, that's where God sends most of his people, to the marketplace. But the good news, this is good news, right? Because it's not about condemnation, but it's about an invitation. This is an opportunity for us to tap into the marketplace and deploy Christians into it prepared. Understanding the will of God means realizing your job isn't in competition with ministry, it is ministry. Point number 2, Become the best in your field. Proverbs 22:29 says this: Seest thou a man diligent in his business? He shall stand before kings. He shall not stand before mean men. In other versions, it talks about skills. It talks about that a person who is skilled, they will stand before, they won't stand before obscure men. It's going to elevate you to a place. And that's a great opportunity. Remember, this is not about pride, but it's about influence. It's about your ministry. It's about expanding God's kingdom in the marketplace. So Colossians 3:17 says, whatever you do, do it in the name of the Lord. And so if you're doing it in the name of the Lord, you want to become better at doing it. Proverbs 22:29, a word of wisdom, it says skill creates access and influence. That's what it sums out. That's what it implies. Skill creates access and influence. So you want to become good at what you do. So when you think about skill or skills equals stewardship. And when you serve well, people listen. So you want to be good at what you're doing. Whether you're an entrepreneur or you're an employee, it doesn't matter. You want to become good at what you're doing. First of all, because it honors the Lord. And secondly, it's going to elevate you to positions where you can influence more people for the glory of God and the good of others. God doesn't just send people, He sends prepared people. We need to be prepared to serve in the marketplace. If God has placed you in an industry, your growth in that field isn't optional, it's obedience. You want to continue to grow in your skill because when you do, it positions you to obey God and serve others well. Get that in your mind. Your skill, you growing in your skill, it enables you to serve God at a greater capacity, but it also allows you to serve other people. Which brings me to this question. If this matters so much, why isn't the church organizing around it? So do a quick research in your city, wherever you may be, and determine, does the church focus on marketplace ministry? Are there ministries? How many churches have a marketplace ministry? How many churches are putting resources to ensure that the congregation is prepared to engage the marketplace to the glory of God? How is discipleship taking place in the marketplace? So I want you to do that research because that's going to tell you what the church thinks about the marketplace. And guess what? You cannot separate your focus and what you focus on. You cannot change what's important to you without examining what you're focusing on. And let me tell you, the church is growing in this area, but there is more to be done in the area of marketplace ministry. Point number 3, start a marketplace ministry. So I want to just practically empower you on what you can do in order for you to begin to turn your 9 to 5 into a mission field. The first thing you need to do is, number 1, you need to understand you don't need permission to start obeying, but you can invite your church into it. Let me say that again. You don't need permission to start obeying, but you can invite your church into it. And you need to. The first thing that you can do is raise a marketplace engagement fund. That means start raising money to engage the marketplace. And this isn't complicated. It might mean taking co-workers to lunch, building relationships, and listening before preaching. So just start small. Maybe it's $100 a month, and then you can work your way up. But it's just being strategic, taking your coworkers to lunch, listening to them, getting to know them. Maybe it's starting with that engagement, right? It's with the funds, starting some kind of lunching or series to help the people in your business, whether you're an entrepreneur or employee, maybe growing in some kind of area. It can be around relationship, it can be around money, it can be around um, skills. You can name it, but you can start something and begin to invite people to it. But what you will do with this fund is that you're going to fund it. You're going to pay for it, so that people can so that people in your job don't have an excuse. They can just come and show up. And this is your way of ministering to them. It can be coffee meetups, lunch conversation. And like I said, bring in a speaker for a lunch and learn. Simple. 2, host a marketplace group at your church. If your church has groups for men, women, and students, why not for workers? So process this. Look at this group from this perspective. You can begin processing work through scripture, prayer for decisions and ethics and pressures, encouragement for faithfulness. This is how you can use this group, right? You may be praying for an opportunity to expand a particular part of your business, or maybe changing a job, or it could be a coworker or a employee who's dealing with some issues and you want to pray about it. Those are things that you can use this group for. It can be support. Number 3, the third thing you can do, ask your church to pray for the marketplace Christians. This is simple, but it's powerful, and it's often overlooked. So this is what I want you to take away from this podcast episode. 1, believers are made for the marketplace. This week, stop calling your job secular. Start calling it assignment. Pray for one coworker by name. Serve with excellence and show up with intentions. And if you're a pastor and leaders, think about this. If most of your people spend 40 to 60 hours a week in the marketplace, is ignoring workplace discipleship a neutral choice or a stewardship issue? Get involved. Start leveraging the marketplace as a way to expand God's kingdom. And as one pastor said, getting your members out of the seat and into the streets. You already have members in the streets. You just need to empower them. So if work is worship, then work isn't distraction. It's a discipleship arena. And when the church takes Monday seriously as Sundays, cities can be changed. So this is my final question to you. If God has already sent his people into the marketplace, what would it look like if for the church to disciple them where they already are? That's the challenge in this episode. I want you to go out. I want you to honor God in the marketplace. Begin to see this as a mission field. If this podcast has helped you in any kind of way, please like it, subscribe, leave a comment on YouTube, on Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to it, because It helps me know how this is impacting you, but it also helps to impact others. God bless you. God keep you. And I'll see you in the next episode.